Master Remit, in partnership with Bittersweet, makes sending money to Africa simple, fast, and secure. With competitive rates, instant transfers, and 24/7 support, we make it easy for you to send money home anytime, anywhere. Join thousands of satisfied customers who trust Master Remit for their transfers, knowing your money is in safe hands. In collaboration with Bittersweet, Master Remit, transfers made simple.
What's up, guys? It's your girl Wintana, and you are tuned into another episode of the Bittersweet podcast. And this week we have a very special guest. Every week I say we have a very special guest, but this is a very special guest.
We're all special.
Everybody's special, exactly. I'm so excited to bring Hibak Hassan, also known as Hibby Online.
Yes, hello.
How are you, sis?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You guys might know her. Like, I was telling you off camera that you're like known for the eucalyptus tree song.
Yeah, my tall eucalyptus tree song.
I keep saying, the tall eucalyptus tree song. I love that song.
Thank you. It was very random.
Yeah, how does that come about? How do you think, let me just...
I'm always making songs.
Really?
I think I made 5 songs yesterday. Okay, not 5, maybe 2. I just make songs.
Okay, wait. How do you what is your thought process of making a song? Because I've asked people that are rappers, what is that process? What's going on in your mind?
I honestly think it's me stimming. Stimming. So basically, because I'm an AuDHD, it basically means stimming is a short term of short version of self-stimulatory behavior. So stimming
stimulation,
singing songs. Yeah. So my version of stimming is just singing random songs, making random songs and making. I would look at something and then I would just make a song about it and just random.
Okay.
And then I'm like, whoa, this is pretty good. Let me go into that, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I was literally we're on a walk and then we saw a tree and then I just thought about making a song about a tree.
We're gonna get into so much today, but we usually like to do a little icebreaker before we start.
Okay.
So this one, it's kind of not a nice one, but I saw this online recently. And there was a woman so I'm not sure if you've seen this video, but there was a woman from Minnesota.
Okay.
Who she's a white woman and she was at the park. Yep. Did you see this video?
No,
And there was a young boy who I just found out literally 5 minutes before we got into this episode, before you got here, that he was also autistic at the park.
Was Victor Perez?
No, he was a 5-year-old. He's a 5-year-old.
Okay, wrong person.
So this woman sees a young boy in the park, and apparently that little boy took the you know how there's the yogurt things from her son's stuff.
Yeah.
And so she is now following him around the park and just calling him the N-word. And she just kept going. And
oh my God, what the heck?
And then a bystander started to record her and was like, you just called this kid the N-word. And she was like, yeah, I did, because he took my son's stuff. And yeah, I did that. And he was just recording her and he was just like, you should be ashamed of yourself, right?
And he's 5.
The boy is a child. They're both children. Her son is 18 months and that boy is I don't even know if he's 5. He looks younger. And so she then, after that happened, she puts a video up on social media. She puts a GoFundMe up on social media talking about, since this video has kind of gone viral, everyone is she's getting threats. Her social security number has been leaked. She put up a GoFundMe for the goal of $50,000. This woman,
what?
Girl, this woman
Wait. She needs a GoFundMe.
It says, help protect my family.
Oh, please.
This woman now has 500,000. Let me show you the video, actually. So just so you have an idea.
Oh my God, no, this is actually so
it's so scary.
I'm very angry right now.
Yeah, I know. That's why it's just really sad.
You know what it is? I'm sick and tired of the adultification of black children. Black children literally just cannot be children and exist and make mistakes, and even if he didn't make it, even if he they just can't, they can't just exist. They can't be playful, it's just
it can't be a mistake.
Yeah,
this is a child. It can't just be a mistake. You're chasing him around the park, calling him what? This is the video.
Did you call him the child? Did you call the child the word? It is my own business. You call him okay, why don't you have the boss to say it right now again? Okay. All right, that's what you say. Nobody dig into your
A little kid just did, you don't.
That little kid, you call him a
Yeah.
the little child?
What if he acts like one, he's gonna
Are you
do
about to
one.
hit him? You chase him here?
He took my son's stuff.
So that gives you the right to call the child, 5-year-old, the N-word.
If that's what he's gonna act
That's
like.
what you're gonna call him.
How the heck did she get fucked?
And now it's like, I'm pretty sure it's on 600
That's a
something.
lot as well, like
Girl,
in
that's
Australian.
like half a million that you've made USD.
It's probably like 700,000 Australian dollars.
Like you've now changed your entire life because you like threatened a little boy, and people now obviously they're flipping it. And there's so many, the comments are so scary. People are
Wait,
saying things like, yeah, protect her, she's our hero, she's a legend, she deserves to be protected. And I'm like,
my God.
you're so right about the adultification of like young
Yeah.
black children. Because
Yeah.
how are you threatened by this child?
Yeah. Also as well, like I think like that is so like that is such a depiction of Trump's world, like Trump's America.
I was gonna say, do you think this is very American? Like is this how?
Well, I think it's because they have a lot of confidence and kind of like, you know, I think the rise of the right, like throughout, you know, many countries, not only in America, but I feel like they now feel more comfortable to kind of like have this voice. Like this is like insane because I feel like
it's so
this is,
public
like,
as well. Like
yeah.
you're so not even proud, but like you just have no like I don't know care towards how you're like towards being like I wouldn't even say politically correct, but just like respectful and like creating a safe space for everyone. It's just kind of like you feel like you can just be calling like little young boys slurs. I just think it's insane.
It's really scary, and also as well, I like. She has no repercussions. In fact, she's been rewarded.
She's been rewarded.
She's been rewarded for that behavior. Like that's insane. And the message that kind of like
that sends out to the public, to your own. It also made me think about like what other conversations that people are having behind closed doors. And I've said this before. I'm not gonna lie. I've said like how. I wonder how, like, and I know obviously, like, we know it's not all people, you know, but it's like some people that are racist or like still hold racist views. Like, what are the conversations that have been had behind us?
It's probably
like, when we're
terrifying.
not- it's terrifying.
Like, literally
like, if you can
terrifying.
publicly sit here, like, I mean, publicly call a child. Like a slur in the park while you're holding your child as if it's like not something that you don't want, you want to protect your child from. Like what that just speaks volumes.
And you're an adult.
Yeah.
Like, and that is like he's 5. Like he's a baby. Like he's
You're terrorizing. You're literally a threat.
she's threatening him.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so
I feel
tired.
so bad for him because it's just like, I don't know, just the little boy, he was just like away. Obviously he's in, I'm just like, just the fear that he would have been feeling at the time. Like, could you imagine this psycho or, like lady?
It's in Minnesota as well. Oh my God.
Is Minnesota known to be, I don't know about Minnesota.
Well, I know that there's like a lot of Somalis there. Like there's a lot.
Wait, oh no, I'm thinking of Denver and Minnesota are not the same thing, right?
No, but like Minnesota is like the Somali capital of America.
Really?
But like, I was speaking to a colleague of mine who's African American. She was saying Minnesota is like quite funny because it's like there's a lot of Somalis and then it's just really white like people.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's not as, I don't know. I haven't been to America, but that's really scary because then there's a lot of like black people in Minnesota as well.
So it's like, what is it? Yeah, it's just probably they just live in a very racist state.
That's
for you to,
crazy.
I don't know. I just think that's insane.
I family in Minnesota.
America's getting very scary.
America is
I've
getting
always
scary.
said I want to like do a little stint, like a short little 1 or 2 years in America.
Really?
Yeah, like New York or something like that.
Oh, okay, New York.
New
Yeah.
York's not really like America, right?
Yeah, it
like I'm talking about the
isn't.
bigger cities. I'd want to do like New York. Yeah, I feel like just New York would be my main.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like it would be really fun.
Okay.
Opportunity-wise, I think there'd be a lot more to do out there. And I went there in 2023, and it was just a time. Like, it was an experience, and I loved it.
I've never been.
I think you would like it.
My family just went to America. I actually think like I am tired of like the Americanization of like everything. Like I feel like they have like, it's just like, I think I'm really tired of like this, you know, I feel like honestly, there is a global sentiment of anti-Americanism, to be honest, there is. There are like record lows of like people canceling like flight and tickets to America. Like literally people are going to America way less than it has ever been before.
Yeah.
And I think as well, it's like we collectively as like a society, we're really sick of like what like late stage capitalism, and the father of capitalism is America. So maybe that's where my kind of thoughts are. Like I'm kind of like, I don't have any interest to go there anymore because I'm like, I've seen you on TV. Like I'm like...
No, and I hear that. I completely feel what you're saying because there is that side of America where for me, like it wouldn't be a long-term thing. I don't think I could see myself
That's why I'm
living
scared
there.
for you. That's why I'm telling you.
I'm telling girl, don't go.
Don't go. Like, these are my things.
No, I think for me, I'm just kind of like, I just want to experience, like I love Australia, don't get me wrong. I love Melbourne, right? But sometimes I do feel like it can be a bit slow pace. I feel like it can also be like so far away from the world. And because we're so like chronically online, we are like seeing the world move. And it's just like watching like something from the screen and you're just like, I want to be there.
No, you're absolutely right.
And it's like, you just feel like you're missing out on everything that's going on.
Right.
Everything feels a lot more possible as well. Like you can get up and go and move and do some stuff over there, or like live here for a bit or do that. Sometimes Australia feels like you're just locked into what the lifestyle is here.
Yeah.
Which is nice, but also it's not for everybody.
No, you're right. I also, I think actually, now I'm thinking, I think because I kind of like maybe my answer was quite politically charged.
Yeah.
Like I'm
which
actually,
I get as well, because it's like America's a very scary place.
is, like,
and if it's not New York, like I'm not going to just pick up and go live in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Like that's not happening.
Yeah, and I'm like, honestly, I'm really tired of like seeing America, you know, I'm tired of it. But I do also hear you as a creative.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I think I don't really, because obviously I'm not in like immersed in the creative space, obviously, as you, like, you know, I just do my 1-2 things online and then I go back to
guys, she says her 1-2 things. You even say, when I was like, you're a public figure, she's like, what? I'm like, girl, you're out here, like, you create content. Like, what do you mean?
I actually feel like I'm not. Like, I'm just like, maybe I'm just like.
But that's a good way to be, because it's just like, let me just do my business and post my videos, and like you are just like growing in your own space rather than being like, oh, I feel like it takes the pressure off it.
It does. I think, and that's what I was been talking about, the PDA.
Yeah.
I don't like pressure. I shut down.
I get that too. And then I actually shut down. Like I'll just burn out.
Yes.
And then like you see me when you see me, and it's not good. Like I need to come up with a system.
Yes. That's why I just woke up from a 2-year slumber.
Yeah.
Like I've been asleep. I just woke up.
Don't kill me. I hear it so much, because it's like, it really, when the burnout is peak, it's really, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
It really is lights out. Yeah.
I feel like I've got crust in my eyes right now. Like I'm just like waking up, like, you know. Like, that's
where
what I feel
have I
right
been?
now.
Yeah. What's happening
right now?
Yeah. But do you feel energized?
Yeah, I do. But creatively, what we're saying is that I feel like in Australia, the tall poppy syndrome is so real. And honestly, like the one thing that Americans are really good for is just like this big, like, you know, like they've got this like really hyper individualist kind of like I guess lens about them. Like they go about the world being main character, right? But I think I really also see positives in that way of like they really encourage like that. There's a lot of creative opportunities and things like that in comparison to maybe.
And they encourage excellence, which I think is not a bad thing. Like I even think about, if we think about our families and our cultures, it's the same thing. Like they take pride in achievements. And I don't think that is, I think in Australia we're humble. And I think, let's say this, it's good to have a balance.
Yeah.
Because it's good to have humility. Like it's not every day like, this is my badge of honor. Like look at all the things I've done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like take pride in what you've done. It's not this little thing.
Yeah.
It's not this, you know what I mean? It's like, no, it's work. I've done this.
No, you're right.
And I feel like we need to find a blend of both. Like let's not do too much, because that's also like jarring to be around people that just talk. But also big yourself up.
Yeah, and that's what we're a bit lacking here.
We're lacking that.
We really are.
Yeah.
The tall poppy syndrome is real.
And it's just like, it's just, to me, it's dated. Like, I think it's kind of, I think for me, my mindset is becoming like, you need to talk about yourself with some like energy.
Yes.
Like don't come to me and be like, oh, this this is what I do. I'm like, no, it's not what you do.
That's
You
literally
don't do
me.
that.
Like,
And I'm
honestly,
you, but I'm like, no, it's enough.
No, but
I'm trying to be like, no, it's just not cute.
That's literally me. I need to stop. Like,
You need to
no,
stop.
You're right. And you know what it is?
Especially if you believe it. Like if you know deep down, like, oh, I love doing this and I'm actually good at it.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing wrong with saying that.
You're so right. I think it's as well, like, I feel like maybe it's because I've been in these spaces of like, because I'm not around a lot. I'm not around. I honestly feel like I'm like always one of the only creative people
In your space?
In my spaces.
Yeah,
like I really am. Like I don't really know people. Anyone that I know like runs away from the camera. Like that's how like they're scared.
Yeah.
They're like scared of the camera.
Yeah.
So like that's the kind of like, and I feel like as well, like people here in Australia, like we are just like, people are just mongering spirits. Like kind of like just like watching you. Like they're viewers.
Watching and they're
viewers.
Yeah.
That's all. That's
There
it. And they
is.
know everything.
But you don't support.
Literally. They know your songs. They will sing Toy Christmas Tree to you. And then they won't comment or say anything.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
It just gives hater a little bit. It does give a little bit of like, I know what you're saying, and that makes you feel uncomfortable. Also, I do feel like it's the East African way as well, where we're very, don't you think? I feel like we're a more like a little bit more conservative.
Yes.
And it's like, not every, like the whole being in front of the camera or like being loud and outspoken. Like, yes, maybe in your communities in like this, but in public, I feel like we've been taught to kind of like hold it in, you know what I mean? And like keep it together all the time, that when you are doing that, it just kind of feels, for me anyway, it feels a little bit unnatural. So it's like I've had to come out of my shell a little bit and push. But also I've had to like just like reprogram the way I think and like not let the way other people perceive what I'm doing as like that to be law. Like it's just, okay, this is what I feel like doing and this is what I'm going to do. Let me just try find confidence in this space.
Exactly.
But it's hard. It's so hard, especially if you're a lot of your friends, because a lot of my like friends, the people that are in my family, they're not, I guess, in the creative scene. Yeah. They are like creative, but they're not in that space. So they're not doing things like cameras and So I think it's good to have a balance of people that you can find in that space as well. But I don't know, girl.
No, I get you. I get you.
But back to this icebreaker, I think, it's really, like, it was just really sad. And I just think it's scary to see that in this 2025, this is where we're at. Like, people are really paying this girl nearly $250,000 or more now.
It's very
for
dangerous.
you to just get up and leave and like change your life.
It's
like, why
so
are we making these
dangerous.
type of people wealthy? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So dangerous. This kind of like goes to show, like, I think this should be like honestly studied in like law, like when they're like, maybe like when you're studying to be a lawyer or something like that, or like, you know, sociology or things like that, and then they kind of like, they should play this to people to kind of like display and make people understand that, hey, this is kind of like the trajectory of a black boy's life. Look at him. He is literally like, a 5-year-old has no foresight, has no kind of like decision-making skills, right? And then what?
On top
like,
of that, he's been diagnosed with autism.
Oh, and he's autistic too. Exactly. So, you know, and then like, this is why there's the, you know, I guess like the high rates of numbers of like, you know, black people in prison. You know, like we literally like, you know, can't make any mistake like that. It's just,
over police. It's like really, it's just a dangerous place for them to be in, to be honest. But
it's exhausting.
Yeah, it's very exhausting. And just, I don't know, very scary. Let's get into this episode. Let's get into this episode, guys. So if you don't know Hibak, she is someone who identifies as an AuDHD. You're also working in occupational therapy. And I just thought it was really cool. Like I had seen your videos before, and then I just thought, obviously you reached out and I'm like, this is perfect. Like, it's such good representation. I feel like we don't know. We don't, I guess from the educational side, I'm going to say for myself, like when I think about, you know, like ADHD, autism, all of the like neurodivergent people, I'm just always like, picking bits and pieces, right, from what I'm seeing now. And also I feel like it's become like a lot more, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I feel like there's a lot more information that has come out of it recently. And like I was saying to you before off camera, like I feel like a lot of people are now like self-diagnosing themselves. A lot of people are getting diagnosed as well. But there's still like lack, I would say, of understanding, like or like information. Because for me, when I think about it, I'm like, oh, like I display this and this and this and this and this and this and this. This sounds like I've got, ADHD.
Like, what does it mean?
What does it mean, and what does it look like? So I really want to talk to you about like the misconceptions of it. I want to talk to you about like what it looks like, how it presents itself, and there's just so much I want to get into.
Yes.
But also I want to talk about you and your profession. So you work in occupational health and occupational therapy.
Yeah.
Okay. So talk to me about that.
Yes, so I am an occupational therapist. I am a mental health occupational therapist. I guess I'm saying that kind of like, it sounds like I'm kind of like thinking about it, but because I feel like I have worked in mental health in kind of like for quite some time from the beginning of while I've been an occupational therapist. So I work in I was working in pediatric mental health, so child and adolescent mental health, which is called CAM service, which is a tertiary level mental health service. And so tertiary level mental health is kind of like, there are like, privates, like I guess like you would go if your child would, has kind of like mental health difficulties, maybe you'd kind of seek out a psychologist. And then after a psychologist, then you're thinking, okay, maybe another specialist. And then like, okay, things are not working out. This is a lot more, significant than a tertiary level mental health service. It's kind of like things that, I guess it's too significant or it's too hard in the community. So that's why they are based in hospitals. So yeah, that's where I was working, and also found out as well through my job. While I was working, I also was diagnosed with being an AuDHD. So and then in my role, I was doing OT assessments and using the OT lens, working with in mental health, like as a mental health clinician to families and children. And then I was also doing autism assessments as well in that role. Okay. And then now I kind of moved away from that role, and I'm now working with adults and doing autism assessments and working on the specialist autism team, which is definitely my jam, because like I realized through that job and through my journey, I'm like, this is actually like my passion. Like, I love this.
Yeah. Oh, I love that for you too. Did you feel like when you became an occupational therapist, like was that kind of what prompted you to go and like do an assessment for yourself?
Yeah.
Or before that, did you ever think like, oh, actually like I might have ADHD? Like, did you understand what ADHD was before that? Like, what led you to being like, okay, let me go get assessed?
Yeah, well, basically, I think throughout my life, like, and I feel like you would, if you ask this to any autistic or ADHD person, especially the late diagnosed women, or also, I guess all genders as well, I feel like you always know something's a bit different about you, but you just don't know what it is. And I just didn't know, but I'm like, something is a little bit different. I don't know what it is throughout. And I feel like honestly, thinking about it, I feel like at the time when we were growing up, there wasn't a lot of like awareness of how different neurodivergent traits can look like, whether it's ADHD, autism, or AuDHD like myself, which is a combination of both. And I guess when I kind of like it clicked for me was when I was doing my master's in occupational therapy. I was we were doing the pediatric subject, and we talked about ADHD, and I was like, oh my god, this looks familiar.
Okay, wait. Okay, tell me, what was it about it that made you like? What were the things that you read and you were like,
No, it was funny. So I journal. I've always been like, since I was a kid, I would write songs, and that was kind of like my way of journaling. And then it turned into kind of like journaling. And every time I was looking through the pages while I was doing this subject, this word will pop up, and it would say, I'm so toxic hyperproductive. Like, I'm so toxic hyperproductive. And I kept thinking, I'm like,
wait, it would pop up while you're writing it?
No. And then it kept coming up, and I'm just like, but what is toxic about it? Like, what is it?
Yeah.
And, things like the traits of like, I guess like, I guess like, you know, being, not being able to kind of like, you know, sit through a meeting while, you know, and like, because I have to be doing something while I'm kind of like listening. And I, you know, during school, I always would like leave the classroom and just go to the toilet and then come back and then go to the toilet again, come back. And my excuse was, I've got a really small bladder. And the thing is, I will be going to the toilet, sitting down, and I'm like, oh, but I actually like
don't need
to pee, but I needed to go. I needed to get up. And you know, I think those kind of things made sense to me as well, kind of like also being like inattentive, you know, and when we learned about executive functioning, that was kind of like what clicked to me. So executive functioning is kind of like, you know, I guess like the tasks needed to be able to do something, and like how your brain kind of, you know, goes about with like the working memory, and like, because like for instance, like when you're making a cup of tea, it's not just making a cup of tea. There's so much process that comes with it.
That, yeah.
So like I'm gonna get up and I have to think about, where is the tea bag? Now I've got to think about, okay, what cup I'm going to use. And then, so it's like, you know, the working memory is kind of like, you know, the admin lady, and then she's kind of like all the files of like the stuff that you need. That's kind of like what the executive functioning is. And I really struggle with kind of like executing a task, but I will still do it. And I'm just like, but you know, the fact that I struggle with that. So that's kind of like things that kind of like clicked for me. And then I was, but it wasn't during the masters though. It was actually, that was when I was like, okay, ADHD, right. When I started to work at in CAMS, oh my God, we were doing ADHD assessments, autism assessments, and things like that. And the girls that would come through, a lot of the times they were like, a lot of times when girls get diagnosed, girls get diagnosed with autism and ADHD, and also there are also like, you know, other, you know, there are boys or, you know, non-binary as well that kind of can be picked up as well around this age. But it's usually when they're about year 7, year 8, or grade 6. Grade 6 to year 8 is such a pivotal moment in, I guess, like, in a child's life, especially when they are neurodivergent, because being autistic is one of the struggles that autistic people face is having struggles with transitioning. So transitions and transitioning between, I remember when I was grade 6 and when I went to year 7, and I went from having tubs to a locker. That freaked me out. I was like, is no one stressed out? Like, I was literally in class like, hello, like, how are you guys okay with just moving on to lockers? Like, I'm literally sitting here mourning my tub, and and then I would look around, I'm like, oh, so you're carrying, and you carry to the locker? Oh my God, I was stressed.
Like, this is a lot of work now,
This is a lot.
That is so funny,
Yeah.
So like, you even doing this assessment, right? And you, I guess, like working in this space, I'm interested to know like, what are the different ways, like what it means to be neurodivergent, and then like different ways that it can be present, because I feel like, and this is where you're going to correct me, because I know that there's like attentive, is it called attentive? Like
for ADHD?
Yeah, ADHD.
There are 3 types of ADHD.
Okay, so there is, can you name, what are they?
Yeah, so it's ADHD inattentive.
Inattentive, yeah.
ADHD hyperactive. And then combined.
Okay. Yeah. So I feel like what we've known growing up, and this, like, you know, there's like the hyperactive ADHD, which is like, when I think of school, it's like the child who's like running around, who can't move, who can't sit still, who's always like getting up, and kind of like, I guess, labeled disruptive. And so that's how you see it as, right? So now that we're kind of coming into this, like, I don't know what it is. It's just so much more present online, and there's so much more information about ADHD. And I feel like this is where you're getting people being like, oh my God, like I have this kind of, like I display this kind of ADHD. Like when I think of doing a task, for example, what you were saying before, I'm not just like, oh, I got to go and like vacuum my room. I'm thinking like, I have to go to the laundry, get the vacuum out, plug the vacuum in, you know what I mean? It's like, do this, move stuff around my room. Once I move this stuff, if I move the bed this way, then I have to pick this up. And it's like all these things of what I need to do and that's like, I've heard that that's a symptom or like a trait of it. Or like my perception of time is like wild. Like it's just very not organized. You know what I mean? It's very much like I give myself a lot more time. And maybe that's me being type B personality. But also, there's that. There's kind of like not feeling very overwhelmed by like if I don't have a list, if I don't have a checklist of things to do, I start to be like I'm very scattered as a person. And so like starting tasks, stopping tasks, getting up, getting all those things is what like I've been seeing a lot of. And so me for myself, I'm like definitely self-diagnosed myself as someone who has ADHD. But you know, I feel like I wanted to talk to you about, like, ask you, number one, like, how does it show up? Like, is it different for women and is it different for men? And then I'll ask you my other question.
I also, just to kind of, before I get into that, wanted to also say that I feel like there is power in self-identification. I feel like, I feel like there's a lot more pros than cons with it, like, because I feel like there's a lot of fear-mongering online, like on the news and like, you know, by media saying, oh my God, everyone has ADHD.
Yeah.
Why does everyone have ADHD? It's a pandemic, guys. Like,
or people will be like, I've seen someone with ADHD. Like, you don't have ADHD. I've seen someone with ADHD. Like, you know, you're just kind of like following this trend of this and that. And I'm like, oh. And then for me, and I think for people who are kind of maybe similar to me, where they're just like, you know, like I could live without the diagnosis. Like, it's fine. We end up being like, oh, you know, it's fine. Like I probably like it is what it is. Like I've lived my whole life now without being diagnosed.
Yeah, right.
And this is what I want to get into all of that as well, because I think that there's like this taboo, like I guess like thing that's attached to, like there's misconceptions, and then there's like this whole like thing that's attached to having ADHD or like I feel like it's kind of like people try to see it the same as like, oh, you have ADHD, so that means like you're not, like you've got like a disability. Yeah. And I just think that comes back down to like not having enough information and like, you know what I mean?
Wait, did you say that you don't have a disability, or you do have a disability?
You have one. It's how people might see it. Yeah, and so like because of that, people will see it as like the stigma. Right. Okay. Literally, I was like, what is that word?
Yeah.
I keep saying this thing literally as like a stigma that is attached to it. Do you know what I mean?
There is.
Let me ask you first though, like how does it how does it present itself? And is it different for men and women?
Yeah, so I think so ADHD for like centuries was so hilarious that people just thought, like scientists and doctors thought ADHD was a childhood thing and people would grow out of it. Yeah. And also it was only only diagnosed with like white boys, to be honest. And
why?
Because I guess feel like there's a lot at play in that. Firstly, you know, access. You know, I feel like they have a lot more access. There's also, you know, again, that adultification of black children, right? And the thing is, with ADHD, there is no scans you can get for ADHD. There's no so it's a lot of the tests that we use are behavioral tests and, you know, observational tests and, you know, getting some collateral from teachers, the parents, you know, observing the child. And teachers are at the forefront, to be honest. When I'm, you know, when we're assessing, I guess for ADHD, every single time I contact a teacher, it's the first thing. Like they are the forefront. We contact teachers because kids are there the whole time with they are with teachers more than their parents, to be honest. And a lot of times there are teachers that just don't pick up on understanding different ways it presents. So ways it can present. So for example, you were saying how you know, share that example of like hyperactive, of like, you know, that child that's kind of like labeled as disruptive in class. Yeah. Whereas girls are taught to mask and to be socially palatable to people. Our games while growing up are mums and dads, you know, dolls. What are they learning?
Or like domesticated,
and they're learning communication styles. They're learning, you know, what's a, you know, good way to communicate, and, you know, kind of like a lot of that kind of like social games.
100%. Have you seen that video of the kids where it's like they had the boys and they had the girls, and they like it's what's it called? I can't remember the name of the TV series, but it was a series. And so they'd come out with food and they added extra salt to like porridge or something. And they gave it to the girls and they're like, it's okay. And then the guys were like, what the hell? Like, you know, like women are like girls even. Like, I feel like our emotional intelligence is just a lot
exactly
higher. And then also we're just taught as well to be,
But I also think as well, parents and teachers and like, you know, people who are around kids, they also use a lot, like studies do show that teachers and like people who are around kids actually communicate to girls with emotional words, like kind of like, you know, oh, you're feeling sad, or you know, like kind of like they are like, as opposed to when they're speaking to boys, they kind of would, you know, they use a lot more like emotional language with girls. So girls kind of have that social leg up and kind of like, because, you know, if a boy's in the corner crashing cars, yeah, cool, boys will be boys. That, you know, that's kind of like them. But then with girls, you know, they're corrected more, or like, you know, hey, you got to be nice, or what? Oh, hug your grandpa. Come on, hug him. You know, they like
expectation is a lot higher.
So then, so for example, a kid who is hyperactive, he's walking around this. So I'm just painting an example. He's walking around, you know, the classroom, making jokes, all that stuff, and, you know, can't sit still, kind of walking around, and the teacher can see him, and he's quite, you know, he's really hyperactive. Well, the girl, she can't sit still in the seat, but she's gonna probably ask, oh, miss, can I be a classroom helper? And she'll be given that kind of roles, and she'll be the classroom helper, kind of like, you know, putting, you know, getting the lunch orders and stuff like that. She's not out of the seat. She's also out of the seat, but she won't be listed as hyperactive because her way is kind of like she's masking through it. She's, you know, doing something else to kind of like, you know, compensate to not being able to sit still. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
okay.
like,
so she's, and that's actually really interesting. So she's aware. She's more aware that it's not acceptable to be getting up and running around and doing the things. So she's like, how can I do this without it looking like I'm being like irresponsible or like being disturbing the class type of thing, right?
She doesn't want to get in trouble.
She doesn't want to get in trouble. Interesting. Whereas the guy is not like young boys are not really aware of that. For them, it's kind of like, this is how I feel. I'm going to do what I feel like doing.
And they're given that kind of like, you know, I guess space. You know, and like, you know, and a lot more. Yeah, so I feel like it's a lot more acceptable for, you know, so I feel
Which
like
is kind of sad.
It is.
It's so sad.
It's sad. Yeah, it is sad. And, you know, I think as well, teachers and parents as well, like, it's like, you know, they kind of need to know and understand how different ways of, you know, presenting, even the cultural element as well. So kids who are of, you know, culturally and linguistic diverse backgrounds, cold backgrounds, we also can be much more masking than other kids as well. Because again, we are taught, hey, be quiet, don't scream, you know. So then they're kind of taught that, then they'll like, because there's that masking element, you know, people who are.
So interesting, yeah.
So then white boys, why do we need a mask? Why do we need to hide our ADHD traits, you know?
There's this other layer, other expectation. And so like, even talking about the stigma around like, I guess, ADHD, autism, all of that stuff. And like, we've seen it come up in the communities where I feel like maybe they'll get a late diagnosis because families don't really understand it. And don't, especially for something like ADHD, I feel like it's not something that, it can hinder you, of course, but also like people tend to like, it depends, I guess, on the spectrum, right? But it's like there are some people that tend to like be able to function, but it's like, it might be harder, but it's something that they can, it's sad because it's like you're silently suffering, right? And your parents just don't know about it. And because it doesn't show up, they kind of like, no, you don't have it.
With ADHD, the struggles are like human errors. Like that's the thing, like, you know, being late, being distracted. Well, you know, or being, you know, being messy, you know, not being able to clean after yourself, not being able to close the cupboards, not being able to, you know, forgetting doctor's appointments, forgetting your friend, you know, people's birthdays. Those are like all things are like that are human errors. And then people kind of like then kind of would think, like, that person's, a lot a lot of it can point to like, oh, that person's lazy, or that person's, you know, and that's
Careless,
what,
or
careless.
this, yeah.
Oh my God, careless. Careless is traumatizing, that word. I've heard it so many times. And like, so careless, yeah. And I think, you know, yeah, exactly. Road rage as well. Like ADHDers are much more, you know, a higher chance to get into car accidents, you know?
Really?
Yeah, because making that kind of like, you know, not being able to think before you do it, like that impulsivity, oh, I'm just gonna like take this, I'm just gonna change lanes. Oh, a car, you know? Those are like, you know, these are things, and I think the stigma is like, when you kind of explain it to your family, oh, all of these things I'm really struggling with. And the reason why like my house is really messy and my room is really messy is like, you know, I really struggle. You know, I have ADHD. It's like, they're like, okay, but just then clean.
Yeah.
These are like things, it's like all like human, like it's like normal human mistakes that anyone can do. And I think as well with ADHD and like, you know, that whole rhetoric of like everyone's a little bit ADHD, you know? Because everyone can be distracted.
Yeah.
You know, if you're tired, you're gonna be distracted. You know, if you're tired, you're gonna be, you know, you're not gonna be able to pay attention.
Yeah.
You know, if you're sleepy,
Yeah.
you're not gonna be able to, you know, I guess like, I don't know, like complete your task or things like that. And, you know, and I think, you know, you can have all these different difficulties, but it's kind of the significance and the severity. And if it's like an everyday thing every single time, and it's like
It's
really
different to
impacting you.
Yeah, this is really a part of your life,
Yeah.
as opposed to like you just had an off day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like, I mean, like even for you, obviously we were talking about how like you told your mom about it.
Yeah.
And how at the beginning, was she like, she wasn't really as like understanding of it?
Yeah, no, she was like, no, you have a master's degree, like, and you were the smartest, like, she was like, you were like, because I was, so I was that classic gifted kid to burnout syndrome. Like, it's not really a syndrome, it's kind of like this like theory. So basically I was in early primary school, I was in a gifted program. So I went to, and to be honest, I thought I dreamt this, but I actually Googled it and it was a real place. And I was like, yeah, this is, I remember going to this place. And I had a stomachache and I was really anxious every time I was going. But it was like this program that the primary school kind of like pulls you out if you're like, you know, kind of like doing really well. It's like this enhanced cognitive kind of like thing, and you do this test. And then, and then I was also, you know, asked to be skipped up a level as well. So my parents like, great, wow, we have a smart kid, amazing, I love that. But like, it's like a lot of the times as well, like, I was also hyperverbal. So I spoke really early as a baby. Like I spoke, I said my first words like before one, like, and, you know, was really, really talkative and kind of speaking, like I would speak like an adult and things like that. All of this, like now when you have the information, is like all signs to like kind of like, when I was diagnosed, my psychiatrist, when he spoke to me, they would have kind of like back in the days would have called it Asperger's, and then ADHD is where I went, and then I didn't do any formal test because my psychiatrist was like, he read my reports and things like that. He was like, yep, and I did these questionnaires, and he's like, yeah, you would probably back in the days would have like Asperger's, but
interesting.
And plus ADHD, and one of the criteria, and by the way, Asperger's is not a thing. We don't say that word. It's really gross and yucky because I don't know if you know, it is from this really scary dude who was a Nazi, used to work for the Nazis, and he was, his name was Hans Asperger's, and he would basically, like, you know, in Nazi Germany, they wouldn't only, you know, I guess like it was also like to understand like, I guess like who will be saved. So people who have Asperger's will, you know, because they're smart and they will, you know, they're okay, they will contribute to society. But people who are autistic that are like, you know, have more higher support needs would die, and like they would, you know, get killed. So that's why that term has been, you know,
like,
yeah.
But it was in the more recent years, right? Because I remember someone from my school said like he had Asperger's. Like I remember that happening.
No, it was it just recently. Recently was like, you know,
they were like no.
So anyways, so basically all the signs were like pointing to like I just think that to the teachers. I'm just like, why? I literally like my best friend was a librarian. Like, did you not think okay? What? Because a lot of times this gifted child will like be celebrated that, oh, they're really great, they're gonna do well, but then their emotional and their mental health and everything is like their social, you know, it's all like they don't care about it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it will just be what, like, you know, kind
like
of
basically like
glossed over.
he's like they're like them being the smart, like they're who they are is like boiled down to them being a smart person, as opposed to having like this holistic approach, right, of who the person is. And so was that what it was like for you? Like no one really thought about all your other needs or whatever. It was just always like, oh my god, Hibak is just like this smart girl.
Yeah, never. And then what happens is that then I went through primary school, and this is very, very, I'm telling you, like the story I'm telling you is like a classic story for anyone who was like a gifted, like that, you know, an ADHD, like or even autistic, kind of like, you know, that classic gifted kid to burnout syndrome. So when I say burnout, then it's kind of like, yeah, so let me explain why the burnout happens. So what happens is that then we're masking, we're doing great in school. You know, we're like, yeah, I'm doing great at school, but then I'm struggling with friendships. You know, I'm struggling with friendships. I'm struggling with, you know, the social kind of like, oh, does this person mean what they say? Like, are they like, you know, being, you know, like, you know, really like, like really struggling, kind of being that awkward kind of person. And then you start really like kind of like really struggling with yourself because you notice the differences, and then you kind of the masking gets too much and you kind of get burnt out. I you know, alhamdulillah, like I you know, did pretty well, and I went through to university, but there's a lot of people who get burnt out and they were doing so well and they're really smart, but school is just not, like the structure of school is just not meant for them. Like it's just not built for neurodivergent people. And then they kind of get burnt out, and there's school refusal that happens, and they can't finish school, or they can't, you know, or maybe they, you know, they struggle at university or, you know, work and things like that. So what would
you say? Because that's I feel like would be such a common thing that happens. Like in that situation, I guess, like what advice would you give people who are going through that, or people who have like family or someone that is like going through something like that?
Yeah.
Like how do you support someone that get kind of burns out and gets to a point where they can't come out of that?
I think what happens is that a lot of the times the burnout is happening when they don't know, like even if they are like, you know, autistic or things like that, or they don't have like a diagnosis, or like they don't really know how to make sense of their identity. And a lot of the time it's like this masking, this like, you know, because masking is cognitive overload. Like, you know, it's so draining to mask all your neurodivergent traits. And, you know, I think, you know, what you would do is obviously consult a therapist, like, you know, psychologist, OT, and, you know, kind of like understand why, you know, what is going on, what is leading to this burnout, what my like, because we need to kind of understand like the energy management and the levels, what is kind of taxing for my energy, and what's like, you know, what can you know, I guess add to my energy then. Kind of like, and also as well, speaking with schools, you know, I think schools need to understand, but I swear this is what I do for work. Like schools they're doing a lot better, but there's a lot of schools that just, you know, that, I feel like they're doing the best they can. It's like they're trying,
but I feel like information's coming and people are kind of working as they go, and people are also becoming more accepting of what's happening. But I think also it's schools and also families and like feeling like you need to feel a level of like, people need to know what you're going through. You also need to feel like accepted, and also not like, it can't be watered down. And I think unfortunately African parents, like, they have this, I feel like a lot of them are walking around with like their own like issue, like whatever it is, they've got their own things that they haven't dealt with. And I feel like they don't really understand that it's coming up, or they don't really, they've kind of learnt and adjusted and like are just living with it, you know? But I think a lot of them, like, I don't know there's a lot of trauma, there's a lot of like I do feel like we do have like a lot of parents that are neurodivergent and just have other things, right?
Yeah.
But they, I think, have just been so okay with masking their entire life.
Yeah.
You know, even coming to a country like Australia, they have to mask. So for them, it's like just a normal state of being.
Yeah.
Which is really sad, but also like, yeah, I think that's what it is. And so I think that now that when we're coming out with more education and people are trying to diagnose themselves or they're saying like, I'm going through this, whether it's like something like, you know, getting an assessment or going to therapy, it's always like, what are you talking about? You have this great life. You're just being like, in my culture, in my language, we have this word called tsagab. And tsagab means like full. Like you're so full. So when they say, oh, it's agib ki, or like you have, oh, it's shitsagab, like, you know, it means like you're doing too much now. Do you know what I mean? Like you've got so much that you're just full. Like you're just, like, you're just like, And
I hear what you're saying.
It's so frustrating because it's like, no, I'm telling you, this is what I'm going through.
Yeah.
And like they come around, like my mom one time was like, you don't get period cramps. Like I don't get period. I never got them. So it's fine. You don't have them.
Oh, is that what she said?
She was saying that and I'm like,
what? Oh my God.
It's kind of like, you know what it is? You were funny because you were telling your mom has like main character syndrome. So for her, she's like, I'm not you.
Yeah.
My mom is like, I am you. Whatever I experience, you experience.
opposite
Don't tell
spectrum.
me you don't experience this because you do. And I'm like,
God.
okay. And it's so like put onto you that you're just like, it's actually not worth the like the hassle. And then for me, because I don't understand the severity of it, like I'm not even gonna lie. Like I'm like, okay, this kind of sounds like work to get a diagnosis, to then go on medication, and to do that, and also like not understanding like what that means. Going on medication kind of scares me. I'm not gonna lie, because it's like, okay, if I've been functioning without it for so long, like, do I want to get onto that? Is that going to do something to my brain chemistry? Like, what is? And so like those are like the thoughts that kind of come into my mind.
Yeah, and also as well, like the process is so not ADHD friendly.
Yeah.
Like it really is not ADHD friendly in the slightest. Like, getting a diagnosis and then to find out as well that ADHD medication prescriptions expire every 6 months. So then you have to remember to get the ADHD medication on time because otherwise then your prescriptions will expire.
Oh my God.
Like that's just so like anti-ADHD. Like, the process is stressful.
Yeah.
But it has been the best decision of my life.
And I've heard that. I've heard a lot of people say like this completely changed my life. Yeah.
Because it makes you it makes you feel like you can give yourself grace for the first time. Because being an ADHDer and not knowing you are is so like traumatizing. Because you literally go about, you know, the world thinking, damn, why can't I just be like, people can do this human stuff. Like, why can't I just what's wrong? Like, what's wrong? Like, why is it so hard to just pick up after myself? Or, you know, and once you start realizing you have words and you have the language to kind of use and to understand, like, actually it's because I'm really struggling with my executive functioning, or, you know, then you give yourself more grace. And I feel like that's why it has been so great.
Oh my God. I love that.
Yeah.
How would you also, like, just back to the whole conversations with parents, I'm sure that there are young women, Black women, African people who are like people from culturally linguistic backgrounds who don't know how to navigate that conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I think for some of us, it might be like, oh, let me just tell them. And then for some people, it might be daunting and like sets you back. Like, what are some things, advice that you could give people?
I feel like some of the things that I would say to people, like to family especially, one of the things how I go about conversation is kind of giving real life examples, like giving, so then they can hold it in mind and it's like quite tangible. Like say, hey, remember that thing, and kind of like tell a story, and then that's kind of like a way to kind of explain it instead of like kind of telling them I have ADHD and this is what ADHD means, and kind of giving, because then they're like, no, you don't, like, you know, they don't, because they really need to know, and because our parents are like, English is not their first language. Yeah. It's, you know, we need to also consider health literacy as well. And, you know, I think giving them like, that kind of, you know, actually examples that they can hold in mind can be really helpful in as well. In the community, I feel like it's really hard as well, like being neurodivergent and, you know, like autistic girls, like autistic black girls as well. A lot of, clinical, I guess like I was reading some research and kind of like even like, online spaces as well. It's like, even my own experience, like black people, like people in our spaces, like as soon as you are a little bit different, you're acting white. Like, and that is just so exhausting. Like anything. And I have been called white my entire life. Like they're like, oh my God, like you're so like white, or like, like my interests and things like that. But it's like, what is white? Why are you giving them all the great stuff about me? Are you giving them like, credit? Like what?
You said that so perfectly. I feel like we have a problem in the black community where we do that. It doesn't, because you're not acting like a stereotypical type of black, you're now white.
Yeah.
And it kind of is like, honestly, this is like another level of like internalized racism. I'm so sorry, because you have allowed other people to box you in and make you feel like you only like to be black means you have to be like this.
Yeah.
Like, yes, there are ways that we're black and like we show up and it might be similar across cultures. You know what I mean? But it's like, it's not one way.
Yeah.
It isn't one way. And it's annoying because it boxes us in and doesn't allow us to have like variety.
Yeah,
like why can't I just be me? Why do I have to exist as this type of person?
It's so exhausting.
Yeah. And it just comes back down to like, but like even, I don't know, like when I look at the media, I'm like, black people either have to be very exceptional and like we're high achievers and all of a sudden you're like, wow, like this black person is, or like, runner, athlete, singer, songwriter, all this kind of stuff. That's when it's like you're praised and you're considered like, I guess even in Australia, Australian. That's when they give you credit. Or the other time is when we're criminals. You know what I mean? Like they're literally like menace to society, blah, 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 all that stuff. When it comes to being mediocre as a black person, there is no like a fuck's given. Like they don't care.
Yeah, they don't.
And that's what's annoying, because it's like we should be able to come on and have conversations like this, because I feel like there's so many, like there needs representation representation needs to be everywhere.
Yeah.
We need to be seen as being like basic living everyday life.
Yeah.
And navigating things like relationships, conversations about like even this being neurodivergent, conversations about like I don't know how you're dealing with family issues and because we do have nuanced experiences. You know what I mean? And it's like
it's so nuanced.
It's so nuanced. It's different. And so that in itself is annoying, because it's like we're like just adding to that whole thing of like, why can't we just be mediocre, regular black people that just show up differently?
Why can't we just exist?
Hello?
Like literally, why can't we just exist?
Like, just
it's
let
just
me
like
be.
let me be. It's so exhausting, and also as well, like I think the trauma of being called, because it is a level of trauma. It's literally called cultural betrayal trauma theory, and it's like being called white, right, by your own people, because like being, our community, we develop community bonds by, by being here. And then when it's like, someone saying, oh, like, why are you acting white? It's like, I'm like, whoa, like it's a violation of like, my sense of belonging, And what are they saying? Actually, then the cultural, betrayal trauma theory leads to like psychological, harm. Like it actually makes you feel really crappy. Like it makes you feel like, oh my God, so what? I'm too white for the, the black spaces. Then I'm visibly black in the white spaces. Where do I belong?
And some people end up like, again, masking and acting a way that you're not. Because it's like you end up being like, okay, well, I don't want to be like, I want to be accepted somewhere. Like belonging is important. You know what I mean? And if you can't feel that within your, like with your people, it's a lot of people, it's like you go both ways or like you just kind of isolate. It's just exhausting. So I feel like as a black community, we need to do better just like not take that.
Yeah. And it's an added layer as well of like, also like, I guess like, I just feel like as well, like existing in these, like, cause being an OT, in mental health, like, even being just an OT, honestly, if I was just a regular OT, it's really white. Like even corporate, I feel like corporate.
Oh
it's
my
like
God, yeah.
Just these areas that we're just in really white spaces. So you're like the spokesperson for black people. Like
which I hate. I'm like, don't give me that responsibility.
No, and the thing is, it's given already, and it's just so, and it's exhausting because like, but then but then I'm this spokesperson, but I'm actually not doing a very good job because my own people call me white. Like it's just no, it's very
it's really irritating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like going back to like, I like your advice around like painting like an example to families and like showing them what it could look like.
Yeah.
So that, or like examples of like your own personal experiences where they and kind of linking them back to educating them around like what it means to be neurodivergent.
Yeah.
Because I think it can be really like daunting to do that.
And as well, I think there is a lack of representation out there as well. Like for example, like when we are when we do mention neurodiversity and things like that to, you know, our parents or like, you know, mental health and things like that, like they don't know who to kind of think of or like even to go, like, you know, because it's like, I feel like, you know, being, even this can be applicable to all cultures, like they think like, you know, going to a therapist and things like that, it's like, you know, a violation of trust and going to the outside and like telling, you know, and I think, you know, that's why I'm like really passionate about this area, like, and why, you know, I like, I'm really passionate about like creating like, you know, my private practice, like really trying to kind of work in this space, like really wanting to be like more of like, you know, I don't know, like more representation because there needs to be some.
There needs to be some, and I think people need to know how to like approach this whole journey. And like, I think there's always going to be questions about like looking for advice and also just making it like normal, like making it something that is not this taboo hidden thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I fully like, I love that you're in this space and that you are like obviously like well informed and that you can, you know, give people advice in this space. I'm excited to see.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's important. I think it's really important.
Thanks. And yeah, I think, thank you. And also as well, like I feel like when, I guess like, you know, when I look at, you know, practices, I feel like, okay, where are OTs, you know, that kind of, because I feel like not many people know what OTs do.
No, we don't.
Like,
I don't know. I didn't know.
They really don't know. They're like, do you find us jobs? Because occupation. In being neurodivergent, I feel like OT would be like mental health OT. I feel like, you know, getting that be so good because like I think a lot of autistic people who are kind of like big intellectualizers, because a lot of like a big experience that autistic people experience, like, you know, that disconnect with feelings, like it's like a thing called like kind of like alexithymia, and like, you know, not really knowing what feeling you're feeling. And a lot of autistic people, what they do, which you know, a lot of times what I do as well is like intellectualize my issues. So I would be like, well, the reason why I'm feeling this, and it's probably because of that, and like really go into like, you know, using these really big words and theories and things like that, because that's the kind of way that I could, you know, can understand. And a lot of times when you're doing psychology or like, you know, therapy, talk therapy sometimes can be really, really helpful. But then with neurodivergent people that are really already living inside their heads, that already do talk and they're super hyperverbal, like talk therapy is just going to just like, it's gonna like, you know, it's not really.
I know what you're saying. It's not really, it's also like, yeah, I get what you're saying. It's not even just that. It's like, if you're someone that intellectualizes everything, you've already kind of read it.
Yeah.
So you've already read about it. You understand it. You know about it. So it's like I go to a therapy session and you're kind of telling me like what I know already when I'm trying to ask you for like solutions to this thing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, I know it's most likely that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think with OTs, we you know, the way that we practice is a lot of time it's quite practical and kind of looking at, you know, your environment or maybe your because sensory is a huge thing, you know, a big experience of like, you know, the ADHD and autistic experience, you know, like being really sensory sensitive and being sensory avoidant, and then that impacts your day to day. It's not, you know, understanding, you know, I guess like how that can be applied to solutions and kind of helping you make sense of things as well. But yeah, so yeah.
No, it's great. We're going to move on to the next segment. The segment is called Bitter or Sweet.
Okay.
Okay. I haven't done this one in a while, so I'm going to give you these paddles.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
And you're going to vote bitter or sweet. So I know that you recently got married. You were a 2024 bride?
Yes, I was.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You look beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
You look gorgeous. So you said you took a break from all of that. Like you took
Yeah.
a burnout, you had a burnout situation, you took a break, you're back.
I did. Oh my God, and I forgot my wedding ring. So classic.
That's
Like, I
okay. It's okay, guys. She's
I
a
always
married
forget.
girl. Yeah.
I always forget.
I really get that. Like that's why I'm actually scared to, if like I have like a wedding, I'm actually scared to leave my engagement ring on because I will lose that.
Yeah.
I will lose
Wait,
it.
How would you lose
How would
it?
I lose it? It might
If
slip
it's on
off my
you?
hand.
Oh,
like if I like,
right.
I don't know. Like I just feel like I don't. This ring here, this is my grandma's ring, and I haven't lost it. I've had it for like 5 years now, but
Oh, if you haven't lost that, that's like really good.
I know. But I don't know. I'm just scared. I'm scared because
Yeah.
I feel like I've lost a lot of like expensive items,
Yeah.
purses, sunglasses. I just leave them and walk away.
Oh my God. Same.
Or like my bag, I've got so much going on, so I'm like taking stuff out, I
Yeah.
put it down, and then I forgot. And I'm
That
like,
chaotic
nah.
bag.
Yeah. So I'm scared to wear my I would be scared to wear my wedding ring, not so much because it's like a band, but maybe like an
Yeah.
engagement.
The
I don't know. I'm just something
engagement.
about it. I'm like,
The
I maybe want to
diamond,
like
scary.
remake it or something, like get like a fake one of it. So it's
I
the
get that.
symbolism is there.
But get it like really tight, so then you won't slip off.
But then what if I want to take it off? Because then it's going to irritate me if I can't take it off. Like this I take off, I switch between hands, and I'm
Are you
always
talking
like,
about like day-to-day life?
yeah.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah. I think. Yeah, I get that.
You know what I mean? It just feels like a lot of pressure.
No, it is. It's a lot
because
of
if
pressure.
I lose it, then what?
I had many dreams of me losing that
That's
ring.
what I've had
Like-
dreams of me, like I've woken up in the middle of the night when I slightly don't feel it. I'm like, where's this ring?
Oh
You know?
my
And I'm like, no,
God.
because I would die.
No, literally.
So I don't know. We'll see when the time comes. But this game is called Bitter or Sweet. Basically, the way it works is I'm going to give you a scenario and you're going to vote bitter or sweet.
Okay.
This
This is
is
so
kind
fun.
of like bridal themed
Oh,
because
okay.
you were a bride. I was like, this kind of makes sense.
Okay.
So having no bridesmaids at your wedding, bitter or sweet?
Bitter.
Bitter.
Yeah.
Okay,
Only
interesting.
because I'm Somali and we do the dances and stuff like that. So I feel like
Okay.
it wouldn't make sense for me.
To
Yeah.
not have any. I'm gonna go like in the middle, right? It's like bitter
Ooh.
and sweet because obviously for me, I've got such a big family,
Yeah,
and I've
okay.
also got like my close friends is probably a perfect amount for a bridal party, like a
Okay.
bridal thing. But then also my family is so close to me that it would kind of be like
Oh my
insulting
God.
if I was to be like, oh, my friends over my family.
That's
But then so
stressful.
I'm just like. I'm so blessed that I have four, like me and my sisters, there's four of us. There's three, so I'd have
Okay.
like three. I feel like my sisters would be like the go-to.
Yep.
But also having none could be easy, and then just having family kind of like wear like the same style.
To be
Because
honest,
obviously
I
when we
get
have
that. Mm-hmm.
the habesha, like we have the traditional one. Everyone will wear like the same dress. Like the family wears the same, and then I get
Okay.
my friends to wear the same. But then for my cousin's doing her wedding this week, and she's gonna do. She was actually gonna do a theme though, like a nude. Everybody wear nude, and that was like a really cute idea.
That is cute.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm kind of like in between.
I kind of get that. I feel like that's my only reason is because, we do the choreography, like, the
Yeah.
dance. So that's why I would say better.
So what do you guys do? What's it called?
Well, the dance, the Somali dances. So yeah, when we enter and then we kind of like do like a whole choreography.
Ah, okay, nice.
yeah.
That makes sense though. Okay, next one is inviting people you don't know to your wedding, bitter or sweet.
Bitter, but no, maybe in the middle.
Yeah,
In the middle.
I want to say bitter. I think I'm for an intimate wedding.
Okay. The only reason why I'm saying that is I would want an intimate wedding. Maybe, you know what? Maybe my answers are based off my wedding that has happened.
Yeah.
Maybe
If you were to redo it.
then bitter. Sweet.
Yeah.
I think, not.
No, wait. What was the question? The question was inviting people you don't know to your wedding.
Yeah.
Bitter.
Bitter.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Because there are like people that I invited out of that I
Respect, right?
Respect.
Yeah.
But then I don't if I see them in real life, would I would I hang out with them? Would I so it's just
Would you say hi to them though?
pardon?
Would you say hi to them?
Well, I would.
Okay.
I
sorry.
would, but I have had people like that. I don't know if it's that don't really say hi. Like they
That's
kind
what
of
I'm
like,
saying,
you
because I
know?
feel like because it's so extended, it's like, and it's
Yeah.
culture. Like with our families, like my parents probably have a long list of like,
They
and
did.
it will hit 500. I know if I let it, you know. And so I'm just like,
I let it.
Who are the yes?
Yeah.
The thing is, we've got two. You know what? We've got we've got like
Oh,
the
yeah.
traditional one, and then we've got the like white dress wedding, and it's like split into two.
Mm.
So maybe in that situation, but I also feel like that could also cause a lot of people getting offended because they didn't
Yeah.
get invited to one. It just becomes this whole thing. And I'm just like,
Mm.
if I'm gonna walk past you on the street and not say hi to you, like if I actually don't know you, isn't that crazy?
No, that is
But
crazy.
it's like our cultures are really like,
It is. And to white people, this is like insane. Like literally, like the fact that
Insane.
when my coworkers, when they were coming to the wedding, I'm just like, they're like, wait, like why? You know, wow, you know so many people. You know 400 people. I'm like, no, I don't.
no, I don't. You think I know these people?
I don't know them.
I have no idea. My friend, my like high school friends, they recently got like they had an engagement, and that was like it was like very similar to how you would do like an Ethiopian like traditional wedding. And it was so funny because she was like, there's just so many people. She's Portuguese and he's Ethiopian, and it was like you could just see how it was like two different cultures colliding, and it just being like so intense for them. You know what I mean? Because it's like, this is so not what we would do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, this is like, it's just so extra.
It
It's
is
such
really
an extra thing. Yeah.
And it's really expensive.
It's really expensive.
It's so expensive, honestly.
Yeah,
like
that's
really.
why I'm just like, maybe.
Like really expensive, like literally. I just like it's not okay. Like they rip off. Honestly,
But do you get it back?
no. I'm telling you, Somalis, they just go to weddings with like they don't give you anything. They go there with like as guests, like that's it. Like but like not like good guests, like not like just like well they're good, but like you know, but like
I get
they're-
you. It's like, where's my gift?
Yeah, they don't.
Like, where's my gift?
They
Because
don't
I'm
give
pretty sure it's
money.
like common courtesy to like pay the food that you're gonna eat at a
We
wedding.
pay them.
That is insane.
In our culture, not the wedding, but the nikah. My dad, like, he's like, yeah, we need to go to the bank, get like a bunch of like cash, and you have to pay everyone, pay all the guys.
Who?
Yeah, the guys at the nikah. All the
Why are
men,
you paying them?
To say thank you for witnessing.
Get out of my face.
No, literally, while you fed them, they, you know, like.
Sorry, that could never.
You did all
That is not
this,
gonna
like,
happen.
it's
I'm
just
doing a
like-
destination wedding. If I was Somali, I would do a destination wedding.
Honestly,
because whoever's
yeah.
coming, I'll catch you there. The rest of you guys won't say hi to me on the street. You're not gonna fly to a different country to say congratulations.
No, literally, yeah, it's just not good.
That is not okay.
It's not nice.
No.
Very bitter.
Very bitter. I'm so sorry. What?
Not tasty. No.
Oh, girl, sorry. But no, that wraps up the questions.
Oh,
the
sorry,
bitter or
all my
sweet
cat hair.
questions. That's okay.
Sorry. I have ragdolls. They're very like. Oh my god. Honestly, it probably picked up on the
No,
camera.
you're good. Thank you so much for jumping on though. This was fun.
Oh yeah, it was
This was so
fun.
fun. Where can people find you on socials? People that want to connect with you, people that might have questions to ask you after this podcast.
Yes, so I am on Hibak Hotline. That's my personal, but Haven Hughes is the name. Haven Hughes Therapy, and that's my the name of the practice. And yeah, the Haven Hughes Therapy is my Instagram, and then Hibby with 4 B's on TikTok. And yeah.
Amazing. I'm going to link it all in the in the show notes, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. Also, guys, side note, as you might know, if you don't, you don't. I'm going to tell you right now. We are having a live podcast comeback after 2 years.
Yeah.
We're doing a live podcast in the studio. They're going to be back-to-back events. So this time it's going to be a bit different. I'm having it as a series. So if you follow us on socials, you might have seen the promo, but make sure you jump on and get your tickets. It's going to be a great time. You're going to be seeing some of your favorites across Melbourne. Jump on and
Get your tickets.
period. Let them know.
Get your tickets.
Get your tickets, guys. You don't want to miss out. Like, it's
You
going to be a good one. I
don't.
haven't done a live show in 2 years. All right. I want to see you there. I want to see you front row and center, like having a good time and just like celebrating with us. We want to see the Bittersweet family come out.
Yes, please. Family reunion.
Family reunion. You know what I mean? That's what
We are
the
family.
hey.
I got all my sisters with me. Is that how it goes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It does today.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
pretty sure it is.
I don't know. I've never
got all
listened to
my
that song in my
sisters
life.
Yeah. Really?
No.
I'm pretty sure that's how it goes.
Okay.
I loved it though. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.